Hey there and welcome. If you've recently hit a bit of a wall, maybe a career snag or a personal setback, well, consider me your supportive mentor for the next few minutes. Today's explainer is all about reframing those painful roadblocks we all inevitably face. We're going to unpack some really fascinating source material that uses both historical and biblical precedents to show us exactly how to navigate closed doors and those sudden, jarring redirections in our lives. Let's jump right in. So the immediate pain of a sudden professional loss, like a career you've literally spent years building or a plan that just shatters, it's incredibly real. It's valid. It really hurts when an opportunity just vanishes into thin air. But our source asks us to pause and reconsider a pretty wild idea. Are these truly dead ends? What if those closed doors and broken plans aren't accidents at all, but actually arrows pointing you towards something so much better? This brings us to the core metaphor of today's explainer. On the left side here, we have the human view. When a door slams shut, we just see a giant brick wall, a total dead end, right? But on the right side, the source presents a totally different perspective. Divine GPS rerouting. Think about the GPS on your phone. When you miss a turn, it doesn't yell at you or punish you, it simply recalculates. It shifts your path to get you exactly where you need to go. Section 1. The pain of closed doors. Acknowledging the sting of broken plans. Look, it is endlessly frustrating when a hard-fought career path or a dream you've held onto for years suddenly collapses. No warning, no nothing. You're left standing on a path you absolutely never planned to be on. But the source shifts our perspective with a really bold assertion. It explains that in the biblical view, God is actively involved in these sudden closures. It says he was right there when the door closed, and, get this, he might actually be the one who closed it. Not as a punishment, but for your ultimate benefit and protection. Moving into Section 2, Paul's Unexpected Detour, a historical case study in rerouting. Let's look at the first-century missionary journeys of the Apostle Paul. Paul and his team had this incredibly noble goal, to spread their message across the major trade routes right into new territories. So, day 1, Plan A, preach in Asia. Blocked. Okay, so day 3, they pivot to Plan B, enter Bithynia. Blocked again. Despite his stellar intentions, the guy faced repeated friction. Finally, on day 5, he receives what's known as the Macedonian vision, calling him in a totally different direction. And here is the crucial takeaway from that detour. By being completely blocked from his original goals, Paul was rerouted to Macedonia, which ultimately sparked the birth of the entire European church. It's a massive historical impact. And this ancient reality actually bridges perfectly to the hidden potential in your own modern career shift. What looks to you like a frustrating roadblock could literally be setting the stage for your greatest impact. Section 3. Sudden stops and friction. Analyzing the first 2 signs of redirection. So, how do we actually know when we're just facing, standard everyday challenges versus a true divine redirection? Well, the source outlines 5 specific signs. Sign number 1 is a sudden unexplained closure. We're not talking about a slow phase out here. It happens overnight. You wake up and boom, everything is changed. In modern professional terms, think of that sudden corporate layoff that comes completely out of nowhere, or a job offer that gets rescinded without any warning. It's an absolute shock to the system. To explain this phenomenon, the text brings in Revelation 3:7, saying, "What he opens, no one can shut, and what he shuts, no one can open." This is actually meant to reassure you. When a door is just unyieldingly closed, when no amount of networking, begging, or maneuvering can jimmy it open, the source frames this as a strict form of protection. It's keeping you far away from a place or maybe a super toxic corporate culture that you just aren't meant to be in. Let's check out the second sign. The biblical sign here is constant friction when you try to force that door back open. You just keep trying to revive a dead plan, and every single time, something goes sideways. A great modern equivalent? Forcing a failing startup business model that simply refuses to scale. No matter how much capital or sweat equity you inject, it hits a brick wall every single time. Proverbs 16:9 beautifully explains exactly why that friction exists. In their hearts, humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. The resistance you're feeling, it's completely intentional. The old path is being made uncomfortable on purpose so you don't just settle into a detour and mistake it for your final destination. All right, Section 4. New openings and internal restlessness, signs 3 and 4 of divine guidance. Now that we've spent some time looking at closed doors, it's time to stop looking backward at what we've lost and start looking forward at exciting new developments. Sign number 3 is simultaneous new doors. The source points out that most people completely miss this because they're staring so hard at the closed door. In a modern context, while you're busy mourning a lost promotion, you might entirely miss an unexpected lateral connection, or maybe a quiet job lead that just slid right into your inbox. We literally have to turn around and notice what new opportunities showed up at the exact same time the old one ended. Ecclesiastes 3:1 reminds us, there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. You see, endings and beginnings often happen simultaneously. A brand new season is already waiting for you to step into it. You just have to be willing to actually see it. Moving on to sign 4, a deep, unexplained restlessness. In a modern career shift, this feels like completely outgrowing a role even though you have total surface-level success. You might be crushing all your KPIs, bringing in the bonuses, but internally, you just feel like you no longer belong there. It's this profound internal push before external circumstances even force you to make a move. And the source makes a super crucial distinction here, drawing from Acts 18:5. This restlessness isn't anxiety, it's not confusion. The original Greek actually translates to being pressed, driven, urged from within. Think of it as an internal assignment. It's a feeling you really shouldn't just medicate or distract yourself from. It is an internal urging to press forward before your current season officially wraps up. Section 5, the power of wise counsel, the final sign of confirmation. So, when you're dealing with closed doors, constant friction, weird new openings, and this deep internal restlessness, you're going to need some external validation. That brings us to sign 5. When multiple, independent, wise people keep pointing you in the exact same new direction. In your career, this is like when a mentor, a former boss, and a trusted colleague, people who don't even talk to each other, all independently suggest that you should pivot into a specific new field. The source argues this is absolutely not a coincidence. It is coordinated confirmation. And Proverbs 11:14 supports this beautifully. Where no counsel is, the people fall, but in the multitude of counselors there is safety. The path forward is made incredibly clear and much safer by utilizing the wise, trusted community around you to confirm what you are already feeling on the inside. Section 6, embracing your ultimate destination, trusting the reroute. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to help lift your perspective from the immediate sting of your current situation up to the grander, much more successful narrative of your life. It's time to start trusting the reroute. Look at these incredibly powerful historical examples from the text. These were all massive dead ends that were actually direct routes. Joseph being thrown into a pit eventually led him straight to leading a palace. Moses fleeing into the desert led right to the burning bush. And as we discussed earlier, Paul's intensely frustrating blocked doors led directly to the formation of the European church. What looks exactly like a detour is often a direct route to success. The source leaves us with this ultimate warm reassurance from Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Because these overarching plans don't fail, it is entirely safe for you to stop mourning that closed door. You can confidently turn around, look at the brand new door that is opened, and walk boldly forward. I want to leave you with this provocative question to chew on. Looking back, what closed door in your life now makes complete sense? Honestly, we've all had them. Those devastating losses that years later, we realize were literally the best things that ever happened to us. Share your own testimony of redirection with someone today and deeply trust the new path you're on. Thanks for joining me on this explainer and keep learning.